Welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a high-stakes discussion that's been circulating around Red Bull's second driver position, a role that's currently causing more tension than ever. Sergio Perez, their current driver, has been facing tough times this season. In fact, his point tally has put him closer to drivers like Fernando Alonso and Nico Hülkenberg rather than George Russell, who's higher up in the standings. With Red Bull's management struggling to justify Perez's performance, the spotlight is shining brighter than ever on potential replacements. But here's where it gets interesting. Could the massive influence of sponsors keep Perez in his seat, or will Red Bull need to look for a fresh face to fill that role? The possibility of this decision affecting sponsorship has added another layer to this story, especially with such high stakes. So, is Perez's spot on the team at risk? Let's dive in to see what Red Bull might have in store. Stick around as we unfold the details because there's a lot riding on this decision. Since the beginning of the 2024 season, Sergio Perez has been under a magnifying glass for his performance, or perhaps more accurately, his lack of it. Things began to unravel around the sixth race in Miami, where team dynamics became complicated with internal conflicts and the unexpected exit of some key team members. Since then, Perez's performance has taken a steep decline, leaving him far down in the points tally. Where Max Verstappen, his teammate, sits comfortably among the top scorers, Perez lags behind in eighth, with only 47 points to his name. This gap has not gone unnoticed, and it's raised tough questions about Perez's future. His contribution currently makes up a small 17.2% of Red Bull's total points, a percentage that clearly falls short of what's expected for a team pushing for dominance in Formula One. Team principal Christian Horner recently spoke out, admitting Red Bull has done everything in its power to support Perez, but there's only so much they can do if results continue to fall short. This season has been a clear signal that Red Bull might need to make some serious adjustments for 2025. Horner's comments reveal the growing tension within the Red Bull camp. He emphasized that Formula One is a results-driven world, and when drivers don't deliver, they inevitably come under scrutiny. For Red Bull, it's essential that both cars consistently earn points to stay competitive. Horner mentioned that while they'll continue supporting Perez as much as possible, particularly as they head into Brazil next weekend, there comes a time when they may have to consider other options. This brings us to Liam Lawson, a fresh talent who's caught the eye of Red Bull's management. In his debut race in Austin, the young Kiwi managed a remarkable recovery, starting from 19th and finishing 9th. Unfortunately, his race in Mexico was less fortunate. A clash with Perez himself left Lawson outside the points. Despite this, the buzz around Lawson's potential keeps growing, suggesting a possible post-Perez era. It raises the question, was Perez's standing protected mainly due to the Mexican Grand Prix and its influence on Red Bull's fanbase? Red Bull's principal Horner remains publicly supportive of Perez, stating that they're committed to making the car work better for him. However, now that the Mexican Grand Prix X is behind us, rumors about Perez's possible departure from the team are picking up steam. This speculation has even led to a response from Carlos Slim, a powerful supporter of Perez and owner of two major sponsors, Telcel and Telmex, that have been vital financial backers of Red Bull. Slim acknowledged that if Perez were to lose his seat, his sponsorship contributions would likely follow him out of the team. In a recent interview, Slim shared that, while they're still in talks with Red Bull, nothing has been finalized. He emphasized that his loyalty lies with Perez, and they've always supported him throughout his journey in Formula One. For Slim, this isn't just about a sponsorship contract, it's about standing behind Perez's career. This financial connection highlights just how complex the situation is. Perez's sponsorship ties provide significant backing for Red Bull, yet the team still needs a consistent performer to stay ahead in the highly competitive F1 landscape. Red Bull's reliance on Perez's sponsorship backing has certainly given him leeway, but the team's rising need for a top-performing driver is becoming difficult to ignore. As Red Bull gears up for the 2025 season, with rivals like McLaren and Ferrari looking more formidable than ever, Perez's inconsistent performance is proving costly. Red Bull's loss of ground to these competitors has highlighted the need for a second driver who can consistently keep pace. However, there is a silver lining. Red Bull will benefit from additional wind tunnel time next year, a resource they hope to use to regain performance. Interestingly, Max Verstappen has defended Perez, suggesting that the car's setup may be partially to blame for Perez's struggles. He argued that the RB20 is challenging to handle, hinting that the performance gap between them might not be entirely due to Perez's driving style. But for Red Bull, it's becoming clear that a stronger driver lineup could be crucial in achieving their 2025 goals. This realization may lead to the introduction of a new teammate alongside Verstappen, possibly someone like Yuki Tsunoda, who has been linked to Red Bull for his connections with Honda and his impressive performances this season. In their recent race in Mexico, Lawson found himself in an unexpected battle with Perez. Red Bull had hoped to avoid such clashes between their main and sister teams, emphasizing that they should work in harmony, especially during critical races. Reflecting on the incident, Lawson said he didn't expect the aggressive move from Perez, explaining that he had left space in turn 4 but was squeezed out in turn 5. Lawson shared his frustration, clarifying that he tried to avoid contact but had limited room to maneuver. This incident has cast a shadow on Lawson, even though his aggressive approach was praised after his bold maneuvers against Alonso in Austin. Helmut Marko, Red Bull's advisor, also weighed in, critiquing Lawson's actions in Mexico. While Marko acknowledged the high stakes for Lawson as a young driver fighting for his place, he insisted that incidents like this should be avoided. This criticism hints that Red Bull is carefully watching Lawson's progression, and though his talent is evident, they're keen on ensuring he tempers his approach in crucial team dynamics. Perez, on his part, has shared his own thoughts on Lawson, saying the young driver needs to show more humility and respect both on and off the track, especially in Formula One's high-stakes environment. As Red Bull considers future possibilities, their driver options remain open. They've been rumored to be keeping an eye on other rising talents, such as Franco Colapinto. The Argentinian driver, currently part of the Williams development program, has been making waves in the racing world. Red Bull's Horner recently acknowledged Colapinto's surprising talent, stating that he's performed better in Formula 2 than anticipated, making him a noteworthy prospect. However, the cost of signing Colapinto, reported to be around $15 million, makes Red Bull cautious about bringing him on board, especially when they already have a lineup of young drivers like Lawson. At the same time, Red Bull is weighing the pros and cons of bringing in rookies from their development program, questioning whether it's better to nurture homegrown talent or look outside for fresh faces. As they enter the 2025 season, Red Bull faces crucial decisions that will shape the team's competitiveness. With drivers like Lawson and Tsunoda in line, alongside the potential for an outsider like Colapinto, the team has options to consider. Thanks for staying with us through this in-depth look at Red Bull's evolving driver dynamics. It's clear that the team is at a turning point, with tough decisions on the horizon about who will be racing alongside Verstappen in the coming seasons. With drivers like Perez facing mounting pressure and rising stars like Lawson and Colapinto emerging as strong candidates, Red Bull's choices could significantly impact their standing as they gear up for new challenges in 2025. If you've got thoughts on who would be the best fit in the Red Bull team, we'd love to hear them. Drop your opinions in the comments. Do you think Perez deserves more time, or is it time for Red Bull to bring in new talent? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, consider hitting that like button to support the channel. It really helps us out and lets us know what kind of content you want more of. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming videos. We've got exciting content lined up, including a deep dive into the new F1 rule changes coming into play in Brazil, a closer look at other teams' lineups, and much more. For now, if you're curious about the latest F1 updates or want to stay in the loop on rule changes affecting the race in Brazil, click on the video that's popping up on your screen now. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Until then, keep those engines roaring and stay tuned for all things Formula One.